Hi, this is Sean Gerber with Reduce Cyber Risk, and this is part one of two parts of my cybersecurity training around cyber awareness training. And this is part of the CISSP supplement information I put out there. This is supplemental information and training that you can get that's in conjunction with the CISSP training that I put out that is for sale. You can find out there on the web and at Reduce Cyber Risk. But this is going to be a great piece that you can add on to your training capability with the CISSP. All right, cyber awareness training, part one. Now, when we're dealing with security awareness training, there's different terms, and the first focused term that we'll get on is security awareness, and what does it actually mean? Now, it provides content to help or address and change user behavior. That's the ultimate purpose of security awareness training, is that it makes a change to the individual or the user so that they will make the change in their behavior as it relates to cyber security measures and practices. It's usually a risk-based approach, and that's providing the best guidance and awareness that you possibly can. You also got to understand that as you provide security awareness training for your employees, they're not all going to get it. It's going to be a continuous process, but it also needs to be a risk-based approach. Just knowing that your employees, there's some things they can and cannot, they can and cannot get. And you can beat them over the head with a lot of training, hoping that they will fix the problem. But in many cases, that all it does is exacerbate the problem. So you need to make sure that when you are providing this training to them, it is a risk-based approach. You need to focus on all users. There are ones that are active and not active. This kind of falls into place, especially as it relates to contractors. You may have users that are very active within your environment, and the others that maybe are contractor basis, and they kind of show up once every month, every 6 months, or so forth. You also need to establish a minimum standard for all users. So what is the baseline for security training that you're going to provide to your users? And what is that? And make sure that everybody gets the same level of training. And now this can be done through various methods, such as an LMS, which is a learning management system. Then you can have that training already spelled out and done for them. All they have to do is plug it in and go, right? Avoidance is a very bad idea. You definitely do not want to avoid not doing some level of security awareness training as it relates to due diligence and what ends up happening with in the event there's a breach. One of the big aspects that roll into this is the due diligence piece of it. And if you don't do security awareness thinking, yeah, it's just a bunch of some hooey that we're just talking on a screen about, nobody really cares about it, no one's actually doing it, there's no reason for it. Well, that's a bad attitude to have. The purpose around that is if you do have any sort of regulatory requirements, one, that is in some cases specified and mandated. In other cases, if you decide not to do it and a breach does occur, well, then you got to ask yourself, are you prepared? And then if it goes to court, one of the things they're going to bring up is, did you train your employees? So security awareness training is a valuable tool, one, from the fact that it teaches your employees, but two, also from a due diligence perspective. What is security education? It's a detailed process for educating individual users. And how does this work? Well, it's most often associated with users and certifications. So let's say, for example, that you have a software development company, and you have developers that are on staff, and these people are looking for, or they're doing your standard development work. Well, the question then comes into, did you provide some level of security education for your developers? Did you provide that? And is there maybe a certification where it's an internal certification that you are qualified to develop in C# security with security practices or security principles? That would be security education. So those are the different things you got to consider as you're creating this product. Training programs need to be created to enhance the overall education. Again, kind of like I talked about before, where if you're a development shop and you have some sort of security certification you're going to provide to them, maybe a certificate that may be available, that would be a security education. Security training, it teaches employees to work tasks and comply with policies. It's best for all employees, but at least new personnel should get this training. And so that's what ends up happening with a new person that comes in. That's the baseline security training they get for your company. It's best for all employees, but at least new personnel should get this. And what I've seen personally is that there's been situations where a company will bring on a new one from an M&A situation, from mergers and acquisitions, and the other company has never taught security awareness training at all to their people. So that's a great opportunity through security education and security training that you can provide your employees some level of knowledge around security. You need to teach your users your company's risk tolerance, and this comes down to your policies that maybe you've created around this. Could be acceptable use. It could be your BYOD policies as it relates to your mobile devices. So you just need to teach your company the risk tolerance around cybersecurity and what you need to do with it. Revisions need to occur routinely based on the ever-changing needs that you run into within the environment, right? And as you get new tools in your environment, you need to make changes to it. So security training can change quite a bit. I've provided that in most cases to my HR people for them to provide for new employees that start. They get some level of security training, and that's on top of the annual cyber security awareness training. So the way I break it out is, one, you have your cyber awareness training, cybersecurity awareness training, which is a yearly event that we teach people. It's on phishing, the things that go along with that. Then step 2 would be my security training for any new people that start the company. So if you started the company, you have a specific training that's above and beyond what you would get for your cybersecurity awareness training. Then the third thing is specifically security education around security practices as it relates to very specific fields. What do you do? What's your responsibilities, and so forth. Now, key methods and tests. Now, as you're dealing with key awareness and training methods, you need to provide phishing tests against your employees. Now, this can be very simple or it can be very complex. And a lot of it depends upon what your time availability is and also your budget. If you have a situation where you're working with a third party to help you with phishing, that can be a way to save you some time. It may not save you money, but it'll save you time. Or you can do the phishing yourself, which is a little bit more complex and takes a little bit more work on your part. There's also training videos you put with your LMS, which is your learning management system. You can get multiple videos online on how to do security awareness training, and you can utilize that and dump those into an LMS. Or direct one-on-one discussions with people. You can have webinars with people as well. That comes even to like a lunch and learn, where you're sitting down talking with people on a one-on-one basis, or you could just do a webinar on YouTube and have it, or on the internet, and have it available for people as well. There's brochures, there's pamphlets, all the documents that you can give to people. All that stuff kind of falls in that as well. Now, phishing tests. We kind of briefed on these a little bit, but you got internal and external. So an external would be such as a company called FishMe, and I'm not a paid endorsement of FishMe by any means, but that's a company I've dealt with in the past, and they have a really good program that falls around teaching the phishing aspect along with the training piece that goes with that. And it can be very, very simple, or it can be super complex. So the simple piece would have a link inside an email, to the more complex, where it's actually social engineering an individual, trying to get them to buy, or not even necessarily even click on a link, to basically go through the process of even setting a wire transfer. Bait is very important. And one thing you need to consider as you are creating a different kind of capability for your team and for your environment is you need to consider what is the best bait, or the best thing you're going to use to lure people into this space. People like free stuff. They really do. Whether it is a free phone, whether it's $50 gift cards, you name it. If you put free stuff on it, odds are high people will click on it. And the other thing to consider is that you don't need everybody to click. All you need is one person to click, just one. And from a hacker standpoint, that just one person will basically be all you need. So you need to teach your people that as you do the phishing test, you're going to get a large percentage of people that will click. You're going to get probably anywhere, consider yourself in good shape if you get only 4 to 5% to click, but realistically, you're going to get people clicking. But the goal is that you have to teach them that just because they are the employee, by clicking on a link, they are incurring some level of risk for the company, and there has to be ramifications for that. Now, whatever you do, use metrics. Whenever you use these, you should use metrics at all costs. It's very important to utilize, but the thing you need to be very important about with this is that when you're dealing with metrics, it kind of goes to the next budget, the next bullet. Avoid retribution and don't do stump the dummy. The whole point of that is that people make mistakes, and you can make these tests extremely challenging for people so that they end up clicking the link no matter what, it's going to happen. So the question is how bad do you make it, and how much pain do you put your people through? So it's important not to humiliate people. It really is. And I've seen some situations where leadership has said, well, if anybody clicks the link, they're going to potentially lose their job. You got to be very careful with that. I can see it if you have someone who is a consistent, repeated offender, and they're always doing it and they're always clicking the link. Yeah, that makes more sense potentially. However, the simple fact of the matter is that if you do that and you start saying, I'm going to fire people because of this, you will lose people pretty quick, and you may lose some of your senior leaders, because guess what? Everybody clicks on links. I'm sorry to say, but they're kind of taught to do that. And so therefore, it's important that you don't don't humiliate people. It's also from a protection standpoint, what are some things you can do? One of those would be you can set up rules within Office 365 or other email platforms that will basically say you can have it sent from an external sender. And this basically puts a little label at the top where if it comes from an outside party not inside your network, it will highlight or put a label on your email saying this was sent from an outside entity. That allows you to kind of key in on this rather than just say, hey, this email comes in and someone spoofed the email, which basically means they kind of copied the email and they made it look like it came from an internal source. That will highlight the fact that it's coming from an external source. And then you also provide some level of education for your people. It's imperative that you do the education aspects when you're putting these protections in place. Now, training videos, you can pay for these. These can be ones that are paid or free. Again, you get what you pay for in this regard. If you pay for some of these, there's some really high-quality videos that you can get that aren't super expensive, but you can also get the ones out there that are free that can walk you through what you need to know. Again, I come back to is you get what you pay for on this stuff. So if you just want basic cyber awareness, a free version may work. You just have to know what your employees are like and what they expect from the training that they get. Simple is best, though. Avoid the technical lingo as much as possible. And here's some good ones that I love is cybersecurity governance, process control, firewall logs, packet captures, PCAPs. All of those will confuse people. They don't normally talk like that. So if you can create a training that, and I like to say this at the third grade level, where people will understand it, you will go a long ways and make a big, significant impact within your organization. Entertaining is way better, and you need to avoid the monotone conversations that you're talking about. That it's imperative. And I see this all the time, especially with security videos that are out there on the web. It's actually quite entertaining. You'll see this. You'll go, yes, you need to focus on cybersecurity governance process, the process control network, firewall logs, and PCAPs and packet captures. So they just talk in monotone voices, and within 2.3 seconds, you are asleep. Please, you are asleep. Now, don't do that. Whatever you do, make sure your videos are entertaining. They are not. They have to be fun. Now, they may be not very foolish, like sometimes this videos and podcasts are, but that's okay. It's better to have that and for people to talk about it than it is to be a boring platform. You don't want that at all. Now, some of your video platforms you can utilize is YouTube. That's a great place that you can get videos and put them out there and download, allow people to get access to those. Another one is just we talked about before, a learning management system. Also, you can get those at Reduce Cyber Risk. It's another one of the things that we'll be providing is some security awareness videos that you can use for your employees. And it's just a great tool to kind of walk through what is phishing? How is it? How do you deal with it? So on and so forth. Again, these are all really good places. And then you can get Udemy and other places you can download this training, these videos as well. So again, the purpose of the training videos is to give your people something rather than nothing at all. But that's that. Okay, so that is all we have for part one. We're going to go ahead and that'll conclude this piece of it, but we'll get into part two next week. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed Reduce Cyber Risk. I hope you enjoyed this podcast. The whole purpose of this podcast is to provide you cybersecurity training made simple. That's what we want to do. And go ahead, check out Reduce Cyber Risk. I got a bunch of free stuff that's there and available for you. If you are a cybersecurity professional looking to get the CISSP, I have some training that's set aside specifically for you that's going to help your CISSP and to help your business as well. It's very important to to just give you, it says another supplemental that I have available specifically for individuals that are working on their security certifications. And it doesn't have to be just the CISSP. It's any certification that you may have would be a very valuable resource. Also, there's for if you're HR people and you want to look at, are you looking to hire the right person? Or if you're a hiring manager, I've got some training on my site specifically for you as well. So go check it out, Reduce Cyber Risk, a lot of free stuff. Sign up for my email list and you'll get a bunch of free content that I got coming. I've also got some bonus content that's going to be coming. You'll be getting those through emails as well around cybersecurity news and some expectations on that. All right, hope you enjoyed it. Have a wonderful day. We'll catch you on the flip side. See ya.